All right, so in this video, I'm going to show you how to evaluate composed functions. So evaluating just means that you're actually plugging in a number for x. What we've got here is f of x is defined and g of x is defined, and we are asked to figure out this right here. So this does not mean any sort of multiplication, like I'm not doing f of x times g of x or anything like that. All I'm doing is I'm gonna like work this thing from the inside out. This is an example of function composition, which is where you take one function, so in this case g of x, and you're actually going to plug it into f of x. We did something like this earlier in the year when we were translating functions, like moving them up, down, left, and right. But here we're just going to stick strictly to like what they call function composition. That's what it's called. Here, though, we're actually going to be plugging in a number for x. So to do this, oh, goodness gracious. Like I said, I'm going to work from the inside out. I just need to figure out g of negative 3 first. All right, so for g of negative 3, I'm going to go up to my g function and replace the x with a negative 3. So that's going to be negative 2 times negative 3 plus 1. This is 6, and then 6 plus 1 is equal to 7. And that was g of negative 3 right there. So g of negative 3 is equal to 7. So now I'm going to rewrite it, but instead of a g of negative 3 here, I'll put a 7. All right, and then you just do the process again, but this time you're going up to the f function and plugging in 7 for x. All right, so it's going to be 3 times 7 minus 4, which is 21 minus 4. So it's 17. And that's it. All right, that's evaluating the composition of two functions. What happened was that the output of g of negative 3, or I should say the output of g of x, which was 7, became the input of f of x. That's what's going on. The output of one function has become the input of another function. All right, that's like the theory behind what's going on. I'll do another one here. So f of x is a quadratic this time. We're asked to find g of f of negative 2. So I got to figure out f of negative 2 first. And then whatever that equals, I'm going to put here. All right, so f of negative 2, we're going to do negative 2 squared plus 6 times negative 2 minus 3. So negative 2 squared, that's going to be positive 4, because I'm doing negative 2 times negative 2. This will be negative 12. So 4 minus 12 minus 3. All right, we get negative 8, and then negative 8 minus 3 is equal to negative 11. So that's my f of negative 2, is negative 11. All right, and now I'm going to evaluate g of negative 11. So go up to the g function and plug in negative 11 for x. 2 minus 3 times negative 11. This will end up becoming 2 plus, because you got double negatives, and then 3 times 11 is 33. So all in all, we get 35 for our answer. Nice. All right, this third one here, just a different notation, but I want to mention it because a lot of times people will see it and be like, oh, it means something else or something weird. It means the same thing, like we're composing the two functions, but you read it differently. So here we said g of f of negative 2. The way that you would read this is f composed with, all right, composed with, that's what the little circle, the open circle means. So f composed with g of negative 1. That's all that little circle means. So we're taking g of negative 1, and then we're using that as our input for f. So it's f, but we're composing, or we're making it up with, we're plugging in g of -1. Anyway, this notation, you can rewrite it as the exact same thing. You can rewrite it as f of g of -1. No harm, no foul. It's totally fine to do it like this. So you got to find g of -1 first. All right, so you go up to the g function first this time. G of -1 is something like that. It's going to be 2 plus 3, which is equal to 5. All right, that's your g of -1 part. So I'm going to replace my g of -1 with a 5, and then I've got to work out f of 5. So for f of 5, that's going to be 5 squared, which is 25, plus 6 times 5, which is 30, minus 3. So I get 55 minus 3, which is equal to 52. That's it. All right, that's taking two functions and composing them with each other.